I said stubbornly. The witnesses said they were vaguely manlike, and the reported footprints are certainly manlike. Or bear-like, said Jimmy. You can't tell. So that's when I said, it's about time we did something about it. Jimmy shrugged and said, they've been trying to climb Mount Everest for 40 years, and he shook his head. For gosh sake, I said, all you mountain climbers are nuts, that's for sure. You're not interested in getting to the top. You're just interested in getting to the top in a certain way. It's about time we stopped fooling around with picks, ropes, camps, and all the paraphernalia of the gentleman's club that sends suckers up the slopes every 5 years or so. What are you getting at? They invented the airplane in 1903, you know? You mean fly over Mount Everest. He said it the way an English lord would say, shoot a fox, or an angler would say, use worms. Yes, I said, fly over Mount Everest and let someone down on the top. Why not? He won't live long. The fellow you let down, I mean. Why not? I asked again. You drop supplies in oxygen tanks, and the fellow wears a spacesuit. Naturally. It took time to get the Air Force to listen and to agree to send a plane, and by that time Jimmy Robbins had swiveled his mind to the point where he volunteered to be the one to land on Everest's peak. After all, he said in half a whisper, I'd be the first man ever to stand there. That's the beginning of the story. The story itself can be told very simply and in far fewer words. The plane waited 2 weeks during the best part of the year, when, as a parents, and the statement is like, saber to say, when it is, spevak say over the sorry, and give us thanks coming there, like the saints has been in the days been do day, at the end of this, when it is very inside of your say the this, when it was say to the same as I was there, and it was say to the events, and the days, and the days, and the days, when the years said about the dance, and the other side of the They made it. The pilot reported by radio to a listening group exactly what the top of Mount Everest looked like when seen from above, and then he described exactly how Jimmy Robbins looked as his parachute got smaller and smaller. Then another blizzard broke, and the plane barely made it back to base, and it was another 2 weeks before the weather was bearable again. And all that time Jimmy was on the roof of the world by himself, and I hated myself for a murderer.